everyone. My name is Kate Gerken, and my pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm a program coordinator in the Study Abroad and Global Engagement Office at KU. I love refurbishing furniture on the side as a hobby, so much so that several years ago, two girlfriends and I decided to combine efforts, and we began hosting an annual tag sale featuring a curated collection of vintage furniture and home accessories. We call ourselves Artifact, and our motto is Vintage Finds for Modern Life. And we actually set everything up in little vignettes around my backyard, which makes it a really, I think, fun and unique experience. So through this process, I've gotten lots and lots of experience fixing up different pieces over the years, and I was thrilled to be asked to share this with you via a workshop on upcycling furniture. The project that I've selected is a bookshelf or shelving unit that we literally found on the curb. So, it would have ended up in the trash had we not picked it up. And I think it's a great example of how you can give new life to pieces that are past their prime with a little care and attention. So we're going to share that process with you. We'll walk you through from start to finish and talk through everything along the way. Before I do that, I thought it might be fun just to share a few pictures of past projects that I worked on. So those will be coming up next, and then we will jump right into the project. This is my project. It's a shelving unit. If you look closely, it's in pretty rough shape. There's like puckering, or I don't know what you would call that exactly. There's stuff like stuck to it, quite a bit of chipping, so definitely needs a heavy-duty sanding. That'll be our first step. But I think it has so much potential. I love the lines of it. I'm going to raise it up on little peg legs, most likely, at the end of it. Sand it, give it a paint job, and do that, and it will be a completely new and different piece. So first step, I'm using a pretty high grit sandpaper because this is so rough. So this is 60, and you just stick it on there and line it up with holes and plug it in. You're ready to go. You don't have to take all pieces down to bare wood, but with this one I'm going to try to, just because we want it as smooth as possible. And the closer to wood you are, bare wood you are, the better the paint is going to stick to it. So this is going to take a while, and we'll check back with you once we finish this part up. Hi guys. All right, so we've finished sanding. As you can see, we've gotten it down to bare wood on a lot of it, especially on the top, but there are some surfaces that still have paint on them. It's really on there well, so I wasn't able to get all the way down to bare wood, but the important thing is it's smooth everywhere. So even if you can't get it down to bare wood, that's what you're going for, is smoothness. So our next step is to paint, and in terms of paint, I've gone with a color called Blackberry by Benjamin Moore. But we're using the Clark and Kensington brand paint from Ace Hardware, which I really like and use for all of my projects. They've got a paint and primer in one, and we've gone with satin finish, so it'll have a little bit of sheen, but definitely not high gloss. And I like satin just because that makes it easy to wipe down and keep clean. So I'm going to start painting. The supplies that I use are just a small roller, paint tray, and a brush for like the corners and crevices. But yeah, so stay tuned. Nearing the end of the project. We have probably 2 phases left, including this one, which is replacing the original footing. It originally had 4 wood slats. You can see where they were here. And we wanted to give it more of a mid-century modern feel, so we decided to replace those with these Peglets, which we got from Menards, as well as the accompanying brackets, which they screw into. In order to figure out where they should be placed, I kind of eyeballed it, decided where I wanted them to be, and then I measured over 7 inches in from this straight edge over here, and then 1 inch in from here, and then I did the same over here. I drew a straight line, and that's what I used to line up the brackets on this side, and then I did the same over here. Final step is just screwing in this last screw here, and then screwing in the final 2 legs. And then I do plan on staining them walnut color, just to make them a little bit darker and blend in a little bit more. All right, so here we go, the last screw. All right, as you can see, the piece looks beautiful, but if you don't finish it off with a top coat or a protective coating, it can scratch more easily. So I like to use this Rust-Oleum clear coat. There's different finishes, matte, semi-gloss, and high gloss. I'm using a semi-gloss here, which is a safe bet if you don't want it to be really shiny or really dull. So I'm gonna just shake it up and then coat it evenly. We'll let it sit for a bit, and then we'll do it again within 20 minutes, and it'll be finished. So moving on to the next stage, we are going to give the back of the bookshelf, which is very dingy, new life by recovering it with some peel and stick wallpaper, which I got at Target. Hard to see the pattern here, but we'll do a close-up when we get it finished. It's a really pretty cream with gold pattern, and I think it's going to look great with the blackberry paint that we've chosen. So the tools that you'll need for this step are a sharp blade of some sort. I have a rolling one that's used for sewing. I have a ruler and a cutting board. And then I also recommend having a second set of hands to help out. My lovely assistant is my husband, Mike. It just makes the process easier because one of you can hold the paper while the other cuts. So yeah, here we go. got the first section on, and during that process I realized that I forgot to mention a few things earlier. So some additional tools that it's helpful to have on hand would be a long straight edge, and then also like a flat plastic piece. This is actually, I think its original use is to clean a pizza stone, but it works really well for pushing out the bubbles as you're unrolling it. And then we're also, because there's shelving that runs across horizontally, we're cutting each strip of wallpaper to be the width of each section so that the seams of the wallpaper are hidden behind the horizontal shelves. So last night, as we were working on the wallpapering the back of the bookshelf, unfortunately we encountered a setback, which is pretty typical. We usually encounter at least one on every single project. The back of it actually started crumbling, and so we ended up having to toss it and purchase a new back. Mike just finished cutting it, and we're getting ready to start the wallpapering process again. So here we go with take 2. Now it's time to stain the legs, and just a funny side note, I used to be really intimidated by staining when I first started refinishing furniture, and now I love doing it. It's so simple and easy, and I'll show you exactly how to do it right now. So you just need a stain of your choice. I chose what is called English chestnut, kind of a darker walnutty color. And then you need a rag or something to wipe the stain onto the piece with. And then I recommend rubber gloves, and then also something to protect the surface you're working on. And then I really like to use a box turned upside down for things like this, so that you don't have to lay it down and get any of the parts you just stained messed up. So here we go. Dip it in. You don't want to get too much on. And then just rub with the grain, rotating it until it's covered evenly, uniformly. So there's leg 1. You may not. I'm going to go ahead and start with what I have on here. You want to make sure you do get all the way up to the edges. There's no unfinished portions of it. Quite work how I wanted it to, but here we go. And I'm going to reapply. Down a little with part of the cloth that I haven't used yet. Looks good. There we go. And one more. might get a little on the stainless part that wipes off easily. Okay. Let's see if I can film. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes and I've let it dry, and I'm coming back just to check the color. If I want it lighter, you can wipe it down with a clean rag. If you want the color darker, you can apply another coat. But I'm actually happy with the coloring of these as they are and the uniformity, so I'm going to leave them like this. Here we have the finished product. I really couldn't be happier with it. If you remember back to what we started with, it was dirty and dingy and heat peeling off the top. It was definitely trash worthy. So it's really quite the transformation. I'm so happy with how the wallpaper turned out and how it's set off by the blackberry color. I think the mid-century modern leg edition was really great and just adds to what already were very mid-century lines. Oh, Clementine saying hello. But yeah, I think it's just a beautiful piece that has truly been transformed, and something that hopefully someone will get a lot of use out of for many years to come.